England, 1632. Charles I is King of England. Life is hard, toiling, but rapidly changing. The scientific revolution is in full swing as old world philosophy crumbles. New ideas and facts swirl across Europe and Asia. England is about to enter into a period of turmoil that will inspire the ideas of one of Earth's greatest, soon-to-be philosophers, John Locke. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Philosophy and Politics Made Simple. I'm your host, Stefan, and today is the first video on the American founding. This is part one of John Locke and his contributions to America. John Locke. His name might not ring a bell for most people, but the impact he had on the founding of the United States is undeniable. In fact, his political philosophy would shape the very framework of America's government and its core values of liberty and individual rights. It is often said that Europe was founded on history, but America was founded on philosophy. That is undeniably true. And through a series of videos, we will explore the ideas that made America what it is today. All right, weekly disclaimer time. Locke's influence is not just limited to the United States, though. His ideas spread across Europe, influencing thinkers like Montesquieu, Rousseau, and Voltaire, and even contributing to elements of the French Revolution. Today, we're just focusing on Locke's direct contribution to the American founding. Locke attended Oxford University, where he was introduced to the ideas of thinkers like René Descartes. His philosophical journey, however, was deeply intertwined with political events, hence why he became a political philosopher. He became an advisor to Anthony Ashley Cooper, a prominent English politician, and later served as a physician to King Charles II. Locke's political views were shaped by England's turbulent times, including the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution of 1688, which saw William of Orange take over the country. These events established parliamentary sovereignty over the monarchy, which Locke completely embraced in his philosophy. His experience as a thinker, physician, and political advisor gave him unique insights into the nature of power and governance, which he outlined in his work, Two Treatises of Government. In this work, he rejects the divine right of kings and argued for a new social contract based on the consent of the governed. Locke's experience wasn't just academic, though. It was personal. His time working with Cooper exposed him to the practical realities of governance. He saw firsthand the tensions between rulers and the people, struggle between maintaining order and preserving liberty. These experiences shaped his core belief that power, unchecked, leads to tyranny, an ideal we find still prevalent in American thought today. When we get to Jefferson, we will talk even more about American skepticism and how he built on these specific Lockean ideals. One of Locke's most enduring contributions to political thought is his theory of natural rights. He argued that all people are born with certain fundamental rights that are inherent in human nature: life, liberty, and property. Locke's concept of the state of nature describes a world without government. Individuals have total freedom, lack security. Sounds nice, right? While some might see this as an ideal of pure liberty, Locke recognized the dangers of lawlessness, of anarchy. Without a governing force to protect rights, chaos could ensue. Thus, people agreed to a social contract, forming a government whose legitimacy is derived from the consent of the governed. This idea was groundbreaking. It shifted the notion of government from a divine or hereditary right to one based on reason and mutual agreement. Locke, although he was a Christian, moved away from certain divine elements in his writing, such as his communication of governments and the people therein, preferring to use pure reason. For example, if a government fails to protect these rights, it can be overthrown and should be overthrown by the people, a concept later echoed in the Second Amendment. But Locke does bring God back into the picture in his discussion of natural rights and state of nature that we just discussed. Another critical idea that Locke proposed was the separation of powers. He argued that legislative and executive powers should remain distinct to prevent tyranny, a principle that profoundly influenced the framers of the U.S. Constitution. Locke's ideas were instrumental in shaping revolutionary thought in America. His belief governments must protect individual rights and be based on the consent of the governed directly influenced the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson's famous words, "All men are created equal and unalienable rights, as well as life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness," were drawn directly from Locke's philosophy. But it wasn't just rhetoric. it was also a call to action. American colonists saw Locke's ideas as justification for rebellion against the British government they believed had overstepped its authority. After independence, Locke's ideas guided the drafting of the U.S. Constitution. His vision of separation of powers materialized in the creation of the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The Bill of Rights, added in 1791, further enshrined Locke's principles by safeguarding individual freedoms like speech, religion, and due process, specifically outlining what rights the government is meant to protect. Our part 2 video will be about 3 documents in particular: his work, 2 treatises of government, Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. All 3 are remarkably Lockean, as we would say, and are the bedrock of American philosophy. Obviously, there are more things that influenced and shaped the American founding, such as the Roman Empire, Christianity, deism, and independent philosophers like Jefferson, Monroe, and Franklin. Locke had arguably the greatest influence over America. However, Locke's influence extends beyond the founding era. His philosophy shaped movements for abolition, civil rights, and liberal democracy worldwide. His ideas were not just meant for 18th century revolutionaries. They became the foundation for democratic governance everywhere. Abraham Lincoln echoed Locke's ideals in the Gettysburg Address, emphasizing a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Likewise, Martin Luther King Jr. championed natural rights in the civil rights movement, calling for justice and equality that Locke himself had envisioned centuries prior. Today, Locke's ideas continue to influence debates on government power, individual liberty, and democracy. From discussion on free speech and privacy rights to the role of government in economic affairs, things that the United States constantly debates, his philosophy remains as relevant as ever. As we navigate modern challenges, his philosophy remains a guiding light in the pursuit of justice and freedom with reason. So what can we take away from John Locke's life and philosophy? His ideas about government, liberty, and individual rights have profoundly shaped the American political system. From the Revolution to the Constitution and beyond, Locke's influence remains undeniable in America. His ideas remind us that governments must serve the people, not the other way around. Principles of freedom and justice that he championed continue to challenge and inspire generations of Americans, even today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Locke's influence on the American Revolution and Constitution, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys like this type of video. Part 2 will be coming out in 2 weeks because of spring break.